Maria del Rosio, Rosie Alfaro, was sentenced to death on July 14, 1992, for the murder of a 9-year-old girl during a burglary and robbery in Anaheim, California, on June 15, 1990. Alfaro, who was 18 and pregnant with twins at the time of the murder, stabbed the 9-year-old 57 times. Rosie Alfaro is an American woman, born on October 12, 1971 in California. Alfaro was raised in a barrio near Disneyland in Anaheim, California. She became addicted to drugs at the age of 13, a prostitute at 14, a single mother at 15, and by the age of 18, she was a mother of 4. Eventually, at the age of 18, she became a murderer while pregnant with twins, and became the first woman in Orange County, California, to be sentenced to death at the age of 20. On June 15, 1990, Autumn Wallace, aged 9, was home alone in Anaheim, California. She was waiting for her older sister and mother to return home from work. Rosie Alfaro was high on cocaine and heroin and needed a fix. She knew the Wallace family and was friendly with one of the older daughters. She thought they were out and that she would be able to steal items from the home to sell so she could get her fix. Autumn opened the door for Alfaro, her sister's friend, who asked to use the restroom. She took a knife from the kitchen before proceeding to the restroom, located at the back of the house. She then coaxed Autumn into the restroom on a ruse and stabbed her over 50 times. Alfaro then ransacked the house for anything she could steal, ultimately to acquire drug money. The stolen property was later sold for less than $300. When the police caught her, Alfaro confessed to the crime. She told the police that she was under the influence of heroin and cocaine when she killed Autumn. However, later she changed her statement, claiming that an unknown man had forced her to do it. After that, she came up with another story, saying that 2 men had taken her there, and one of them had forced her to kill Autumn. But she refused to reveal the man's name. In August 2007, the California Supreme Court voted unanimously to uphold Alfaro's death sentence. The sentence will automatically go on appeal to higher courts. In March, a jury convicted Alfaro of first-degree murder during the commission of a burglary and robbery, but the same jury split 10-2 in recommending the death penalty. Later, a second jury unanimously recommended the death penalty. On Tuesday, relatives of the victim and the convict wept as 2 mothers, one remembering their child and the other fighting for their daughter's life, were emotional in court. Holding back her tears, 42-year-old Linda Wallace said that during the trial, her daughter was seen only as a victim, someone who was stabbed by a person she trusted. She said she wanted everyone to know that Autumn was not just a name. Her blonde-haired, brown-eyed daughter was intelligent, loved swimming and fishing, and dreamed of becoming an artist when she grew up. Wallace said she lives every day the nightmare of what Autumn must have endured in her final moments of life. She said she wanted Alfaro to receive the death penalty for his crimes. Alfaro's mother, 38-year-old Sylvia Alfaro, appealed to the judge to reduce her daughter's sentence. After this, she ran out of the court crying. Linda Wallace, meanwhile, closed her eyes and wiped away her tears. She said her life was in limbo ever since she returned home from work and saw her daughter lying in a pool of blood. What he did was terrible. I will never forgive or forget her, Wallace said. Of Sylvia Alfaro, she said, I feel very bad for her, because I know what it feels like to lose a daughter. During the trial, Alfaro's attorney, William M. Monroe, repeatedly claimed his client's innocence. He said the judge should have taken into account Alfaro's age, his drug addiction, and his 4 young children, and should have sent him to prison, not the gas chamber. Alfaro testified that she was a drug addict and was drunk the day Autumn was murdered. She told that she had entered the house with her 14-month-old son and 2 men to steal. She went inside the house and found a knife, while Autumn was playing with crayons. Alfaro called Autumn into the bathroom and stabbed her 57 times with a knife. Alfaro claimed in court that the real killer was the man who had given her a ride home. The prosecutor argued that Alfaro only came up with this story after getting a lawyer and that there was no evidence of another person being in the house. However, the investigation found Alfaro's fingerprints in the bathroom and her blood-stained shoe prints. Sylvia Alfaro testified that her daughter had started a life of drug addiction and prostitution at the age of 12, and her habits worsened until the birth of her first child, Daniel. Maria Alfaro had been admitted to several rehabilitation centers, but always relapsed after a few months, her mother said. At one point, Sylvia Alfaro sent her daughter to live with her grandmother in Mexico, hoping that the change in environment would help her overcome her addiction. However, when she returned, there was no change. At one point, Sylvia Alfaro sent her daughter to live with her grandmother in Mexico, hoping that the environment there would keep her away from drugs. But when she returned, there was no change. By the time she was 15, Maria Alfaro was completely out of control, her mother said. She wore heavy makeup, dressed in black, and was always dirty, her mother said, who broke down in tears multiple times during the hearing. She didn't care about her appearance. Alfaro tearfully admitted in a video that on the day of the murder, she was under the influence of cocaine and heroin. Along with her 2 male friends and her young son, she went to rob the Wallace family home, knowing that Autumn would be home alone. "I stabbed her because she recognized me," she confessed. The stolen items from the house included a portable TV, a video recorder, clothes, and Autumn's typewriter, which was sold for just $250. Autumn's mother, Linda Wallace, who was in court with her 2 surviving daughters, said, "The jury did a great job, and they made the right decision. I just want this to be completely over. I want her to receive the death penalty. That is the right punishment for what she did." She further added, "Even if she gets life in prison, I will accept it. These 2 years have been very difficult, but now I feel some relief." On August 26, 2007, 15 years later, the Wallace family finally received the news they had been waiting for. The California Supreme Court unanimously upheld the death sentence handed down in 1992 to an Anaheim woman for murdering 9-year-old Autumn Wallace during a robbery in 1990. Maria del Rosario Rosie Alfaro, now 35, was the first woman in Orange County to receive the death penalty.